Hey everyone, welcome to 2026. We're going to have a look back at Toronto real estate in 2025, see how all the numbers came in, what were some of the causes of that, and what to expect next year in 2026. Uh, these are all going to be on a high level. We'll drill down a little bit to look at what the condo market is doing specifically in Toronto. But if you have any questions about a property in particular, please reach out. We'll look at each property individually. Each neighborhood is performing differently. Overall sales, average prices might be down, but in certain neighborhoods it's up, and certain neighborhoods are actually having offer dates and seeing multiple offers. So let's uh, let's jump into have a look at the numbers and see how everything rounded out at the end of 2025. So these are the stats from the Toronto Real Estate Board. They've broken it down into the 416 and the 905. Looking at December here, comparing the number of sales and average prices, and then looking year over year what the changes were. Um, December's typically one of our slower months um, in terms of number of sales. We also see a lot of listings get pulled off the market with people waiting to relaunch them in the spring or in early January, February type thing. Um, to me, the one number that I see that we've seen the average price of townhomes in 416 actually increased. Um, it's they kind of put together freehold townhomes and condo townhomes in here, so the numbers can vary. We've seen this segment of the market actually be a little bit more stagnant, um, mainly because the people coming into it have a condo to sell, and you got to sell the condo beforehand, and so that kind of really delayed the process there. But we're starting to see some increase in that. Um, Comparing just year over year, uh, sort of the big number that you're hearing from the real estate market is how few sales transactions there were. So just over 62,000, down about 11% from the previous year. And then number of new listings is almost up 10%. Average sale price across the board is down almost 5%. Um, the number of sales is significantly low. This is kind of look back over the last few years, with the peak being 2021, where we saw over double the amount of transactions. And to get back to that sort of 60,000 number, we got to go back all the way to on the bottom here on the left hand side, uh, the 2000 Y2K 1999 numbers. Um, when you look at the average sale price there, it's about 250,000. So significantly different there. Higher population, certainly more density in the city now. When we look at the sales volume, so this is looking at the GTA. So when I say Toronto, that's Toronto proper. GTA, we're looking at Peel region, Durham, Dufferin, the surrounding area, basically the greater Toronto area as a whole. Um, what we're seeing here is we've seen actually the volume of sales uh, go down as the other charts showed. But what really looking in this one is we're seeing the highs and the lows converging. So that signals that there's more stability coming in the market, so less volatility as we move to having the buyers and sellers sort of adjust to similar pricing and agree on what's what the actual market value is. When we have the huge highs and the huge lows, that's usually represented by number of more transactions, and it can fluctuate as we have outlier sales, both in terms of sale volume and sale price. Looking at the average price per property, this is looking at Toronto proper. Um, Here we have this over the course of 2025. We can see the average, the high one here is detached. So you're just over 1.5. And at the start of the year, went up, had some fluctuations through it, and finishing just below that. So if you compare the average detached sale price in the 416, it's right in line with the Toronto numbers. So I'm sure you've heard a lot about the condo market and how scary it is. A lot of the information you're seeing is on the pre-construction side. So you might see headlines there was 20 sales or 19 sales last month. That's only looking at pre-construction sales. We significantly have more sales on the resale side every month than that. But what we're looking here is the solid line. We're looking at the volume of transactions, so the number of transactions that we've seen in Toronto throughout the year, and then the other line is the months of inventory. So months of inventory is how many months it's going to take to sell off. Sort of the key number to look at is when you cross the 6 month mark, that puts you into a buyer's market. Considering sort of the 3 to 6 range, or the 4 to 6 range is a balanced market. Under 3 is a seller's market. Um, as the number of transactions increases or decreases, that's going to have an impact on the number of months of inventory we have. So we're going to see continued softening in condo prices while months of inventory remains high. We are seeing sellers adjust their price to meet where buyers' expectations are, and we are seeing some of that inventory start to move. The hardest hit is sort of the under 500 square foot that was built for investors, might not be the best quality. So if you're looking to enter the condo market, or you're trying to sell a condo to move into the freehold market, it's really important to we look at not only what the sales are in the building, but what your competition is, and develop a strategic plan on the best way to navigate what the current conditions are. So feel free to reach out for that. So some factors that we always watch in real estate, but it seems more and more prevalent. I mean, we're halfway through the month, and there's already been sort of crazy news, and I'll classify that under the other geopolitical, all that. But we'll start with inventory. So we've seen the inventory reach record highs in 2025. A number of those properties I've watched be relisted over the last 3 years without adjusting the price significantly. If we're seeing months of inventory, and we're only seeing sort of 20% of the homes sell a month in a given area, you have to look to see that typically something's going to make those properties stand out, whether it's a feature within the property, it's brand new build, nicely renovated, it's got something that's desirable for buyers, or the price is really desirable for buyers. So it's got to really shine, got to have a bit of a wow factor. Lots of talk of interest rates over the last several years, but signals from the Bank of Canada and the major banks are forecasting rates to stay pretty stable. What that helps with is buyers now know what they're, if they're looking at variable, they know what they're going to be purchasing, what interest rate price it's going to be at, so they can forecast easier and create a budget to stay within. Your expenses are going to be known. Any real estate's no different than any other market. It likes stability. So the more stability there is, the more typical transactions we have. The major banks have come out with their forecasts. Who knows what's going to happen, because there's too many impacts often under the other category here that can influence it. But with everybody sort of calling for a more stable environment when it comes to interest rate announcements, I think it's going to go back to the days where people sort of stop paying so much attention to it, and they're just looking to focus more on the homes and finding the right home that's going to fit their needs. Population and immigration. So I think last month was one of the first months we actually saw a population decline. we actually have had significant less immigration when it comes to the number of student visas. And that can impact the rental side of the market, which in turn drives rental prices down. And for investors that are looking to evaluate property on a cap rate, that can have an impact there. We'll see what happens with population and immigration. I'll throw foreign buyers into this. Currently foreign buyers have the access to commercial properties right now, not residential, and the ban goes until the end of 2027. But there's been a lot of chatter lately about maybe lifting that earlier. Um, I think that would have more of an influence on the pre-construction area than the resale area, but we'll have to see what happens there. Employment numbers also has an impact. If there's instability in people think there's going to be layoff coming, they're not going to make a major purchase like buying a home. Um, in here, one interesting thing that we've seen is the back to work. I think the government's gone back to 5 days in the office again. So that's had a positive impact on the rental market in the downtown core. But we're also starting to see some buyers that look at say, hey, you know what, maybe than renting, I'll actually pick up a condo apartment that I can live closer to work in and relocate back into the city. My favorite, the other. So whether we're talking tariffs or oil in Venezuela, there's so many impacts that um, influence buyers' decisions. Uh, you know, like I mentioned earlier, buyers prefer stability so that they can sort of make a calm, sound decision. There's a lot of chaos in the world, whether it's over in Europe and the Middle East, uh, North America, South America, Greenland. Conversations between Canada and the U.S., our biggest trading partner. So I suspect that there's probably going to be more and more of these things that happens over 2026 before we finally reach maybe something that's a little bit more calmer, a little bit more stable market. Hard to forecast how that's going to impact. It just feels like it's going to be another year like 2025 where there's a lot of unknowns that might come out. But at the end of the day, people need a place to live, and people need to sort of move forward with their lives. So we try and limit some of the noise and try to not focus on speculation what's going to happen, but focus on what's happening now and in the immediate future in terms of making decisions for helping our clients make those decisions. So adding a little bit more to what we're looking in 2026, the forecasts are starting to roll out with the major players are weighing in on it. A lot of them are saying, hey, our sales volume is going to increase. We think we're at the bottom there in terms of the 62,000. So that should increase somewhere between 5 and 7%. But we do see softening of prices that's going to continue in the GTA. Again, that's going to maybe between the 3 to 5%. A lot of neighborhoods are different. We're actually seeing some slight increases. Those places that are getting multiple offers. I was looking at somebody for an evaluation of the property in Bloor West Village for detached homes, and actually seeing that the number of sales over the last couple of years has been pretty accurate. And then actually seen some slight increases actually from year over year in sales prices. So yeah, everywhere's a little bit different. So you really have to narrow down and have a niche focus on what you're buying or what you're trying to sell, and the best way to navigate that. We're looking for probably inventory to continue to be high, but also we're going to start to see more and more of it absorbed as we move more in towards a balanced market. The biggest question we get all the time is, hey, when are prices going to go back up? It depends on your asset class, whether you're detached or a condo, semi-detached, that sort of thing. Overall, as a market, I think we're looking more towards 2027, maybe even 2028. Um, I think 2026 is going to be a lot similar to what we saw in 2025. So if you want to have a look back at that, that's probably a good indication of where we're going. So thanks for that. If you have any questions, always happy to have a one-on-one call, and whether it's myself or with my team, we're happy to give you a hand, answer any specific questions you have, help plan for the future, and look forward to hearing from you. Anyways, take care. We'll talk to you soon.